This is a question for Mr. Chitterelli. Every candidate thinks our electric bills are too damn high. But our electric market was deregulated in 1999 when we still had a Republican governor and legislature. That law required a few years of mandatory rate discounts, but they're long gone. You've said you'll replace weak regulators, but how can any regulator control a deregulated market with rates now driven by that market?
So I think we've come to the conclusion, Mika, that maybe the deregulation hasn't worked as well as we thought. And I think it's a time for New Jersey to give serious consideration, depending on what we do next with regard to energy independence. There is talk about pulling out of PJM. The Democrats are blaming PJM for everything right now, but that's not the right thing to do. They're to blame for what they've done in terms of energy. We closed our last coal burning plant. We put an unofficial moratorium on the burning of natural gas to generate electricity. They haven't expanded our nuclear footprint in South Jersey. That all changes on day one of Governor Chitterelli's administration. We'll have a new energy master plan. We're going to lift the moratorium on burning natural gas, clean and safe natural gas to generate more electricity. We'll put a shovel in the ground with regard to a fourth nuclear reactor in South Jersey. 5 footprints have already been approved. We don't have to go through the FERC process, which really lessens the time period for getting the nuclear power plant approved. And so these are the things that we have to do. This administration and the Democratic legislature was complicit in letting Phil Murphy put everything on wind. It has failed.
John Brabnick.
The Democrats, and to be honest with you, I get along with the Democrats, but they pick politics over policy. What they do is they determine that this state is going to go 100% green. The problem is it wasn't a practical approach. I say that over and over again. They pick a political lane without using any common sense. So what did they do? They invested all of their efforts in offshore wind. Despite the legislature giving them $1 billion for Ørsted, they could not do offshore wind. Phil Murphy and the Democrats want to ban all fossil fuels. Interesting, very political, but practically it doesn't work. What we need is common sense and multi-sources of energy in this state.
Bill Spadia.
You know, it's funny to hear Jack Chitterelli talk about his opposition to wind, knowing that the lobbying firm that has helped fuel and fund his nearly 40-year career in politics lobbies for big wind. So that's interesting. The other interesting point is nuclear. You know, Jack, I'm sure knows that it takes 10 years to get a new nuclear reactor built and online. Now, it just so happens 10 years ago, I stood at the PSE&G plant with the 3 nuclear reactors, and I called on the governor and the then legislature, which Jack served in, when he had the power to do something, and said, guys, if we defund the expenditures on solar and wind, which are not working to supply our grid, and we invest in nuclear, we would have a governor coming into office in 2026 with a new nuclear reactor online. So that's not going to help the ratepayers now. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. Number 1, we're going to pull out of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. Number 2, we are going to force the energy companies to negotiate directly with the power suppliers and cut out the middleman. Number 3, by executive order, we're going to end the electric vehicle mandate. We're going to end the energy master plan. We're going to let the market come back. Natural gas, methane, and nuclear are our future.
Time is up. Micah, follow up.
Does nuclear need to go at Oyster Creek or in Salem, or are there new spots in the state that you would consider?
There are 5 footprints already approved, Micah, down in South Jersey, so why not use one of those footprints? Mr. Spady is wrong on the timeline. The new modular nuclear reactors can come online within 6 years. Think about where we would be today if Phil Murphy hadn't bet all on wind and to put a shovel in the ground 6, 7 years ago on the next nuclear reactor. The 3 we have down there provide 40% of our electricity here in the state with 0 carbon emissions. But get ready for attacks on every given issue tonight. I think it's an acknowledgement of where the polls are.
Bill Spadia. Bill Spadia, you wanted to follow up, Bill Spadia.
This from a man who spent millions of dollars trying to tear me down. Well, Jack, I'm still here. And I'll tell you something. What is really interesting is, again, he admits he was in the legislature at a time when he had the power to do something. He chose politics and lobbyists over ratepayers and real people. And I'll tell you this, we can not only get our natural gas online, we could be energy independent within 18 months to 3 years. We have to take the peaker plants, these are the combined cycle plants, and make sure that we allow them to go from being there to supply 400 megawatts at peak energy and get them full steam up to 1,300. We could be energy independent literally within a year and a half.
John Bramnick.
Well, I'm just hoping that tonight's debate doesn't turn into a Jerry Springer show again. Yeah, the bottom line is, let's respect the time clock, let's respect the candidates, and let's stay with the substance. And in the general election, none of this is going to help us. Let's concentrate on the Democratic policies that have put our state in a situation where we're unaffordable, energy costs are off the charts, and of course, we're closing prisons as opposed to putting people in prisons. Let's stay with the issues.